But let's start the show talking about the quarterback, the Super Bowl MVP, Jalen Hurts. Because I have been seeing a lot on social media. Fans, analysts, sports talk hosts throwing out that Jalen Hurts should be benched. And we're starting the show because I want to ask the question to our listeners today. Is it ridiculous to even ask that question of a Super Bowl MVP 13 games into the next season? So, Ricky, I have a very strong opinion about this, but I want to get your opinion first. Is it ridiculous for anyone to be questioning whether or not Jalen Hurts should be benched at this point in the season?
Asinine. That's all I can tell you. I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would you want to change your quarterback going into week 15 of an NFL season? Why would you do it? By the way, I know everybody loves Tanner McKee. Tanner McKee is the next coming. We get it. He's the next Tom Brady. Okay, understood. When I look at it this way, if this was week 5 or 6 and we just saw misery the first 5 weeks of the season and the Eagles were 1-4 or 1-5 through those first 5 or 6 games, I could see it. Maybe to light a fire under Jalen Hurts. This isn't fire lighting time. This is the time where you got to try to pull the team together, not pull them apart. And there are guys that probably believe in Jalen on this team. There's probably guys that don't believe in Jalen on this team. But he's been a constant here. He's gotten them to 2 Super Bowls, Bill. 2 Super Bowls. They won the Super Bowl last year. And you're showing this type of disrespect to your starting quarterback. I think that's absolutely pathetic. You have to have the thought process that he could pull himself out of this little tailspin that he's in and this offense is in. Because you are going to live and die by him. It is way too late in the season to make a change like that. And I think it's just, to me, it's inconsistent, number one. The whole team would be a disaster if that were to happen. And number two, it's hasty. Why? Why do you need to change a quarterback? Because he's not having the best games that we've ever seen him have. You know what?
That's the funny thing that makes me chuckle.
Yeah, enough of his talk, too. I don't care about his talk. You know what? Talk the talk on the field. That's all I want to see now. I don't believe you change a quarterback because of the sole reason of how deep into the season you are. And it shows no respect whatsoever for the quarterback who led you to a Super Bowl, almost beat the Patriots the one year, and then brings you back last year and wins you one. I think that's disrespect.
Chiefs should be.
Sorry.
Yeah. You're
it was Mahomes both times.
Wrong dynasty.
Sorry, it was Mahomes both times. I did
wrong dynasty. Rick, you and I are seeing eye to eye on this. And let me make this clear. Criticism of Jalen Hurts is completely fair. It is completely justified. He needs to play better than the way he is playing right now. I don't think there's anyone that would disagree with that. But we're also talking about a quarterback that not only won the Super Bowl, not only was the Super Bowl MVP, but outplayed Patrick Mahomes in 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls. And we are only 304 days removed. Literally, 304 days ago was Super Bowl 59. We are only 13 games removed from Super Bowl 59, but it gets even better because up until the bye week, Jalen Hurts was in the MVP discussion in the NFL. At the bye week, all right, Ricky Bo, he led the league in touchdown to turnover ratio at 20-2. He also led the league in passing touchdowns to interception ratio at 15-1. His 20 combined touchdowns through the first 8 games of the season were the most in franchise history since the year 2000, talking about 25 years ago, and it was the 3rd most in the NFL at that point in the season. So really what we're talking about right now are 4 games. We are talking about a 4-game sample size. November 10th. You're talking about what happened on November 10th against the Green Bay Packers up until today, which is December 10th. So the Super Bowl MVP, the starting quarterback that has brought you to 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls and a playoff appearance every year he's been a starter, we're going to start asking whether or not he should be benched because of a 30-day sample size? Because of a 4-game sample size? Because that's what we're talking about here. Not when they were 6-2 and he was an MVP candidate. We're talking about 4 games. So, yes, fair to be critical of his play. Fair to say he needs to play better. But stop with the ridiculous takes that you are going to bench him for a guy who has one career start in his NFL career. Stop it. Okay? Stop it. And if there's listeners out there who disagree with me, I would love to hear from you today. If you don't think that it's ridiculous to consider benching a guy who's 13 games removed from a Super Bowl championship, I'd love to hear your reasoning why. So hit us up, text board, voice memos, 610-632-0975. Now, Ricky, you heard my position on this. I heard your position on this. You and I kind of see eye to eye. People may be saying, well, who the hell are you two? Well, let's talk about Jeff Saturday, a guy who was the center, who took snaps, or gave snaps to Peyton Manning, Hall of Fame quarterback. Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame quarterback. What did he say about all this discussion about Jalen Hurts potentially being benched? Listen to Jeff Saturday on ESPN's Unsportsmanlike.
Everybody is blaming Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts has a responsibility and accountability to how he played. He did not play well the other night, but in the same game that he played poorly, A.J. Brown played poorly. They got a holding call on a touchdown. They missed a field goal. Like, there was plenty of errors in the game to go along with what Jalen did. That people act like he is a bum or that he shouldn't be a starting quarterback in the NFL is absolutely insane to me. The guy has outplayed Patrick Mahomes twice in the biggest game. This is, I don't even know what number this is, his 7th offensive coordinator change. Like, he doesn't even have the same guy every year. And everybody's like, oh, it's just Jalen Hurts' fault. It's comedy to me.
Comedy to Jeff Saturday.
I'm kind of with him. Not in all senses. I mean, because, you know, I was looking up some stats, and the one thing that bothered me the most is percentage of on-target throws. Did you know he's down 6% from last year? On-target throws, which means you throw a ball exactly where it should be. 73%. That's low, especially for him. He hasn't been that low since when? His rookie season.
And
which is when you expect.
Last year he was close to 80.
Last year it was 79.1%. Yeah. That's a big difference. So, I mean, that tells me, okay, so his target's a little bit off, but he has had a bunch of drop passes this year.
Well, and that's what I wanted to talk about, because I said this yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. As bad as Hurts played against the Chargers on Monday night,
he could have had only 2 interceptions.
But if A.J. Brown, and it would have been a tough catch, but if A.J. Brown caught the fade down the left sideline at the end of regulation,
they win the game.
They not only win the game, the entire narrative this week would have been flipped. It wouldn't have been just how terrible Hurts played. It would have been, man, I'll tell you what, Jalen Hurts didn't play well, but he made the big throw when he had to.
You know, he stepped up at the right moment. Oh, yeah. You know what? The people that at the beginning of the season that were calling him the MVP and crabbing about him not being in the top 5 or 8 of quarterbacks in the National Football League, these are the same people saying that he should be benched.
Yeah,
I truly believe that.
You know it as well as I do. If A.J. catches that pass, there's no chatter about benching Hurts. It would just be he shows up big when it matters. He threw a perfect pass when it matters. We can't overreact. And listen, I got to keep saying this and emphasizing this. It is completely fair to be critical of the way Hurts has played since the bye week. He has not played well. And I do think he has a lot of blame and responsibility for the way the offense has looked. It's not all on him. It's not all on Jalen. The offensive line hasn't played well. I don't think the play calling has been spectacular. But Jalen Hurts, if you're going to play the most important position in sports, the most valuable position in sports, when things are not going well, yes, you deserve some criticism. And Hurts would probably be the first to admit that he deserves to be criticized for his play. But to go from point A to point Z, pretty much, that quickly, oh, well, he's got to be benched now. Like, come on now.
I think it's kind of odd that people think that a quarterback has to have good games all the time or great years every single year. Sometimes it's just not in the cards. Sometimes you could be good and your receivers aren't. Maybe sometimes you're just not on top of your game for a long period of time, and I think that's where he is right now. He's just not doing a lot right. But, I mean, his receivers could help him out a little bit. How about his offensive line? They could help him out a little bit.
They could. And look, I've had some people say to me, well, we're not talking about benching him for a long period of time.
What are you doing?
Just sit him down for a couple series.
If you were a couple series, if you're going to bench him, you take him out the full game.
Well, this is where I'm going. So I've had people say to me, just sit him down for a couple series. If the Eagles ever actually considered sitting Hurts, this is an organizational decision. This isn't even a Nick Sirianni decision. If you're going to take a Super Bowl MVP that you just paid over $250 million to, and you're going to bench him for a guy who has one career start, that has to not only come from Sirianni. You better believe Roseman's in that meeting, Laurie's in that meeting. That is an organizational decision because there's a chance you're never coming back from it.
But
there's a chance you're never coming back.
I also feel like there's a lot of people out there that thought he wasn't a good quarterback before this all started, and this is kind of just backing up their reasoning.
Correct. That is correct.
And that's kind of bothersome because of what he did in the 2 Super Bowls that he was in. He was the star of the 2 Super Bowls. Probably should have been the MVP of the lost Super Bowl.
Oh, he was. Yeah, he was. If they win the game, he clearly was. He played the best game of anybody.
Most valuable player to me is the most valuable player, not the most valuable team, most valuable player on the team that won.
Yeah, it's hard to get it as a losing effort.
What's up, everybody? It's Bill Colarulo from Unfiltered with Ricky Bo and Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we post a ton of content. It's not just what you hear on air. We're posting content all day long. We do some things before the show, after the show, even stuff during the show. So subscribe, like, do whatever you got to do. We got all this content coming to you every single day.